Morning, I'm Jennifer. This is A Country Life. Emily is never late. It is actually 1 minute to 9. She told me she would be here at 9 o'clock. We are going to be making a pile of freezer meals today. Very similar. If you've been around my channel before, you probably have an idea of the freezer meals that maybe we're going to make. Tater Tot Casserole, chili, barbecue, chicken pot pie, awesome sauce chicken, things like that. Things that I've made here before, but we're just gonna document it again. So in case you are new here, this may be the first time that you're seeing these recipes. Welcome, and we're gonna have fun. Like I said, Emily is here. She's never late. Funny story though, this is like get to know my son-in-law a little bit better. Last night I texted Emily, I said, are you still planning on coming tomorrow for freezer meals? And I get a text back saying, yeah, I'll be there between 5 and 6. I was like, I text back, yeah, right. And I get a text back that says, seriously. And then I had the aha moment. I'm like, you know what? This is Sparky texting on Emily's phone. And I said, is this Sparky? He's like, yeah. And she says she'll be there at 9-ish. So anyway, all right. It's going to be a fun day. Like I said, we have a whole pile of things that we're going to make. She's like, oh, I didn't know we were filming. Good morning. Good morning, little guy. Oh, he's gonna do a little shy boy, huh? Are you doing a shy boy? Yeah. Okay, so we had made a list a couple weeks ago. We're actually not going to do the beef stew. We're just sticking with chicken and like ground beef, ground venison style recipes. So here we go. Awesome sauce chicken, sesame chicken, lasagna, cheesy hash browns with ham, honey, turkey, picante, burritos, barbecue, chili, chicken pot pie, taco soup, taco meat, seasoned shredded chicken, and beefaladas. Those are just staples around this place, and so that's what we're going to stick with. We just kind of like went down and said, okay, we need raw for that, cooked for that, raw for that kind of thing. So Emily is just starting over here with just a little bit of water. She's going to be getting the chicken cooked, so we just put in, this is like 3 pounds of frozen chicken breasts. We're going to just get that going in the Instant Pot chicken, and that's going to be for the chicken pot pie. So I was making a little list then off of our master list of things that we kind of have to do. So we have to make the marinades, shred cheese for all of these recipes here. We have to chop onions, dice turkey, cook the rice, and we also have to cook up all the ground meat as well. And then once we have that, it's just going to be opening cans and assembling and things like that, which seems like it I know what we need to do. We need to make the chicken gravy. That would be like for the chicken pot pie. But as soon as I wrote down chop onions, I was like, oh yeah, I have red onions already chopped in the freezer. So we both agreed that sounds fine. So we're just going to go with these. All of them? No, that looks good, just like that. I would turn it low just to start it. Do I need to even label it chicken? I think the first one I might have. No, I didn't.
They're all awesome sauce. Oh.
We know.
Oh no.
We know what to do with these. We have all of our bags of awesome sauce chicken done. Now we're going to move on to sesame chicken. And this recipe, Emily said, yes, it's in my cookbook. It's on page 30. So we're going to start with oil, grape juice, soy sauce. Oh, we have to chop up the green onions, sesame seeds, a little bit of ground mustard, ground ginger, pepper, and garlic cloves. We're going to put all of that in here. And I think we should probably make like 2 batches of this, or like double this recipe, so we have enough to go over all the chicken that we want to do. Maybe we might even do more. Yes, I think we're going to do more. Maybe we're going to triple it. we're putting together the honey picante burritos. This is made with the turkey that I was just cutting up. And yeah, this is a recipe I really like. That's it. I really like it. It goes a long way. So we only doubled the sauce, and that's going to be enough for 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. For 10 cups of turkey, this amount of sauce is going to be just plenty for that. So in the recipe, I have 2 to 4 cups of turkey. Yeah, it makes a lot of sauce. So actually what I typically do is just cut the bag. I put the whole frozen hunk right into my little small crock pot on low, and then it just thaws it as it heats throughout the day, and then we serve this on tortillas. You can add cheese. I think the original recipe only called to add cheese to it, but I honestly like to put a little cheese, a little sour cream, a little lettuce, and you know, you could add a little extra hot sauce, whatever really. It's kind of just like a taco-y type of meal. Okay, perfect. That looks perfect. Okay. So far, since we've been doing a lot of marinades, actually, Emily's just been washing these dishes up as we go, so we use the same dishes over and over again. That is one pointer I have when you are doing a big cooking day like this. It's really easy to just keep taking more dishes because you want to like get the project done, you know, as fast as you possibly can. But then at the end, trust me, the pile of dishes, it feels insurmountable. And by the end of this, you're actually, at least I am, usually pretty tired. And because I don't usually take a whole lot of breaks, just a quick lunch break and then right back at it. And so honestly, my legs start to feel a little bit tired, and I don't really want to stand and do dishes the whole evening. So I do try to keep a little bit of soapy water in the sink and kind of wash through some dishes as we're going along to try to eliminate all those problems at the end of the day. We have all of the ground venison. Actually, I thought it was going to be a mix of beef and venison, but it's not, right?
Yeah, no.
Yeah, okay. So it's all just venison. We have the spaghetti sauce. This I made last year from my garden, and that's all, like, I put it in there to thaw the rest of the way. Simmered a little bit to thicken it, and we have all of the meat here all cooked up. The chicken finished before, and I let it naturally release. Let's check. Yeah, so all the pressure has released, so we're going to open that. We'll start shredding up the chicken, and yeah, we're moving along nicely, I would say. Next up is easy lasagna, and this is on page 19. It makes a fabulous freezer meal. The key I find to making lasagna, even when you're just making it fresh, and 2, if you're doing a freezer meal, well, obviously freezer meal wise, you want it to be completely thawed before you start baking it. So you do usually have to take this out a couple days ahead of time and put it in the refrigerator. So you do kind of have to think ahead. Even though it's like easy and ready to go because it's in the freezer, you have to remember to take it out a couple days ahead of time. And then also, you also want to really, really make sure that you give your lasagna plenty of time to bake and plenty of time to cool, because the noodles will continue to soak up the liquid and it will kind of like thicken up, and the cheese will just kind of firm. As it cools, the cheese kind of firms up just a little bit, just enough to make it easy to cut. Because I don't know about you, but I don't like it when I cut lasagna and then you go to serve it and literally everything slides out of it. I think that comes from one, either being a little too liquidy, not resting long enough after baking, and just trying to serve it too hot. So anyway, those are some lasagna tips. We have everything. I mean, this is such an easy lasagna recipe. So we have the sauce here that, like I said, is from last year's garden. We have the cottage cheese. I have some frozen mozzarella. I shredded this up, I would say about a month ago, and I put it in the freezer. I have some Mrs. Dash to further season the sauce. And we have more mozzarella, and that we'll probably have to shred up. Oh, and we have the lasagna noodles. You don't need the oven-ready ones for this recipe. This recipe has enough liquid in it, which does make it a little trick for freezing. You need to make sure that you keep it real flat when you freeze it, but it bakes up really, really nicely. All right, a 11:30 now. Colt is taking a little break having peanut butter and jelly. And we just finished up. So our lasagnas are a little light because they just are. I guess I just didn't quite have enough of the sauce thawed. And so we only did 2 layers in the lasagna instead of 3 layers. That's fine. We both said it'll be one of those things where you just cook up and you probably won't have a whole lot for leftovers. I may even bake both of mine on the same night so that we do have a little bit for the next day's lunch. So I put saran wrap over these. If you do that, which I do highly recommend that because I think that they freeze better and stay fresher. And then what I'm going to do next is put the Reynolds wrap over it. But why did I say that? I always call it tinfoil. Anyway, then I'm going to cover it with that. But just please, please, please remember that you've done that, and don't just pop it in the oven because you will melt all of this right into your supper. So anyway, that is that. We're just going to cover these. I will label this lasagna, bake at 350 for 1 hour, and I almost always bake it a little bit longer, although these are small, so they may only have to go 1 hour and then let rest for at least 15 minutes. So I realized that one thing I should not do is give tips on making out a grocery list because I bought groceries for meals that we didn't even have on the list, like Tater Tot Casserole. So I have all the ingredients for that, but there are things that I forgot to buy. So like sour cream for the cheesy potatoes. So anyway, yeah, we're just gonna make it work. It's all gonna be fine. We decided not to do Beefaladas, even though that was on the list. In its place, we'll do the Tater Tot Casserole. Last thing to do with Tater Tot Casserole is to just give it a little bit of seasoned salt, or regular salt is fine too, and a little bit of pepper. Whoops. When you're watching through the camera, it doesn't look like there's anything on there. They're gonna be salty. But you don't really make Tater Tot Casserole for the health benefits. I mean, it really is just a comfort food, and it's just, you know, one of those things where you have a long day and this tastes good.
And it's really easy.
And it's so easy. That's what's nice. It's so easy. It makes a complete meal, and that's it.
What else do you want?
Right. What else do you want? Emily's like, what else do you want?
Yeah.
We're making the taco soup now. I'm not. Emily is. And I actually prefer taco soup with my homemade tomato juice because it's thinner than store-bought. But we just happen to have one of these, so we're using this up. So she's just splitting that between 2 ice cream pails. Ice cream pails make fabulous freezer containers for soups and chili, things like that. And so, you know, and taco soup is not a difficult thing to make. It's really just a dump and go soup, but it is still nice to just have it all ready. And if you run it under a little bit of hot water, like when it's frozen, the whole chunk will come out, and you put that right into a crock pot. And as it warms, the lid will work its way down, and then you're good to go. It just makes it really, really easy when sometimes your brain, even though it's easy to make, sometimes your brain, like when you have a new baby or when you're just busy with work or whatever, sometimes it just doesn't want to work properly, right? So anyway, Maria, you're not Maria.
No, I'm not.
Emily's going to put in the meat next. The taco soup recipe is also in my cookbook on page 9. We always serve this with corn chips and then usually a little bit of cheese and some sour cream. You're wondering how much?
What is
I put
that?
at least 2 heaping, or even 3 scoops into each one. Next up, we're going to season up some meat with taco seasoning. I always just use this. I make homemade taco seasoning. It's so easy. I do have a video here on YouTube where I show the ingredients. I know that it's in my cookbook in the back, like under the miscellaneous section. It's just so easy to put together, and it is actually a lot less expensive than buying all the packets. So we're just going to season up, not all of this, but I think we each want 1 or 2 bags. The boss is awake. I think that both Emily and I want to have 1 or 2 bags of taco meat for just like tacos. It's so nice to make that kind of thing ahead of time. Again, even though it's not a difficult meal to make, it's just nice to have that already cooked, and you just empty it out of the bag, heat it up, tacos are served. Okay, Emily is just mixing up the chili, so we decided to make a double batch of chili. We leave out the elbow macaroni though until we actually until this is all like hot on the day we're going to serve it. And so what we're going to do is use these freezer containers. These I picked up on Amazon. They come in a pack of 24 or 25. I love them. I use them all the time for freezing leftovers. If I have leftover barbecue, leftover chili, leftover chicken noodle soup, whatever, I use them all the time. So I'm going to put mine in this ice cream pail, and then Emily is going to take 1 or 2 of these home with her, because like 1 quart would be about a serving or like a meal's worth for her and Sparky. So she's just gonna fill that up, and yeah, we're moving along.
This time, like, we've made meals that like are allowed to just like dump and like freeze. Last time we did a lot of like casserole things and a lot of like small individual things that took a long time.
We did
Where
last
this
time.
is just like, you know, we made a lot more freezer like marinated chicken breasts.
Yep. Which are super easy to freeze ahead. So really we just have to put together the barbecue. Again, we are just going to mix all the ingredients. We will not simmer that today. When we dump it in our crock pot the day we want to serve it, it'll just simmer away, and like the veggies will get nice and soft. We can cross off chili. I can't do that through the camera. There we go. So still barbecue, and then we have to shred up the chicken, which is completely done. Are you waiting?
I'm going to be on the Upper Pond Hall in Show Rock.
Okay.
Just so you know where I'm at.
All right, thanks. So chicken pot pie, we still are going to do that, and that's going to take a little bit because we have to make the roux, and then we are going to season up. You know, I think we're actually going to have to leave this one on the table because, I don't know, I didn't quite get enough chicken, and I think we're only going to be able to make chicken pot pies, and we'll have to save the seasoned shredded chicken for another time, as well as the Beefaladas and the cheesy hash browns. Those I'll just probably make up at some point in the next couple of weeks and just take over to Emily whatever amount I end up making. One of the nice things, if you make meals that you have made, you know, hundreds of times already, and you do that for a freezer meal, you can kind of make you don't have to follow the recipe exactly, because you kind of already know how it works for your family. You've made it enough to know like what you can kind of skimp on if you need to, or what you can add a little extra in of, and it just, I don't know, I just like making this kind of freezer meal, because like we're kind of like, oh, do we want our casserole to be this big, or do we want, you know, it's just easy. It's just easy to do recipes that you've already done. And I am giving my cookbook a workout today, because just about every recipe that we are making is a cookbook recipe, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think the only thing that's not in the cookbook is awesome sauce chicken, and that's hardly a recipe. And then Tater Tot Casserole, again, that's hardly a recipe. So yeah, that's it. In the end, I have 1 ice cream pail full and not quite a quart here of chili, and Emily has 2 quarts of chili that she's taking home with her. I'm so excited to have all these meals. And what makes it so exciting, I'm going to say it again, is that they're recipes and meals that I know my family loves, and that's what makes it so exciting. I do like to do new recipes and do some freezer cooking and stuff like that with new recipes, but I don't think I'm ever quite as excited when I'm done with that as I am when I have recipes that I know we already love and adore. Do this. Make extras of the things you love and pop it in the freezer for a later day. Remember when I said almost all the recipes are in my cookbook? I was wrong on one more recipe. This is the Sloppy Joe recipe, and that's what she calls it, Pioneer Woman, in the Pioneer Woman Cooks Food from My Frontier. It is on page 58. My book naturally opens up to this page because I make this recipe all the time. We're just making one single recipe of it, and then we will just freeze what we want in these smaller containers, which, as you know, barbecue actually goes a long way. That's what we call it in our house, barbecue. It goes a long way because you're putting it on a bun and usually serving it with like chips and a pickle or something. So anyway, that's what's next. We're working on the chicken pot pies now, so this one takes a little bit of time. Emily shredded chicken, and then I'm just working on making the roux. And so this is just melted butter, salt, pepper, poultry seasoning, and then what do? Oh, flour. Did I say melted butter with all of that? It's just your typical way of making a roux. You know, melt your butter, put your seasonings and your onions in, add the flour, let it get bubbly, add your broth and milk and any other seasonings that you want to add. Bring it to a boil and let it thicken up. And when it's as thick as you want it, it's done. I'm also shredding cheese here right now for, yeah, it looks like I have a mess here, but just a couple minutes ago this was all clean though. But I have one more thing of cheese because I want to have all the cheese shredded for when I put together the Beefaladas and the cheesy hash browns. I just thought, you know what, since we have all this stuff out, I already had this out from the mozzarella cheese. Might as well get all the cheese shredded ahead of time. It'll just make putting those meals together so much easier. Clearly, we saved the best for last. Emily actually just said, she's like, this I'm saving for my birthday. She's like, so I can just pull that out on my birthday and make one. So I think we have plenty of filling to make for sure two. And I'm thinking we're probably going to be able to even make a third or maybe a fourth. So for sure we'll see. One recipe, like one, yeah, if you just make the recipe as is, it is supposed to be enough for you put into a 9-inch pie plate with pie crust on the bottom, pie crust on the top. But there was always a little extra. Like if your pie plate was not huge, it always seemed like there was extra. So anyway, we doubled the recipe, and I think we had a lot more chicken than what we originally thought. So here we go. Let's see what we got going on. Colt says he's just about had it, right? You're gonna scratch at the recipe cupboard, huh? Grab at the camera. Okay, you just, nope, you can't sit yet. You gotta hold on to these two. There's no sitting down for the pregnant lady.
Okay, what am I doing?
So you hold on to these two. All right, so we're going to be getting the last of the freezer meals in. Well, these she's not going to put in the freezer because she's going to be leaving, I think, probably pretty soon. Colt is like, I've had enough of this. So anyway, I'm going to get my chicken pot pie in the freezer. We totaled everything up. We have 14 meals that we made for me and 16 for Emily and her family. So that was a fabulous day. 30 meals made. We still have 3 more things to make, and I have almost all the ingredients for those, just short like one little ingredient for each thing. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm gonna put a couple other videos up here on the screen of other freezer meal prep days that we did. I think this is our third one.
This is the third, yeah.
This is the third one. So I will put those other videos up in case you want to see us make maybe the same recipes just a year ago or whatever it was. So anyway, you guys have a fabulous day. Bye-bye. At the beginning of the day, we sure did talk a good talk, didn't we? Look at that. Looks like there's a project to do tonight.